Next we've got a very cool little item called a Embossed. And what this little thing does is it's going to emboss and cut out your image. And what you're going to use for these is you're going to use your multi-purpose platform. And you're going to want to put it on tab 1 because that's where my sizzlets are listed in my Embossed. So you just follow the directions, and right here it shows you your sandwich order. So you go ahead and put that down, and I'm going to put my standard cutting pad down. I'm going to grab some paper here out of my pile here I've got going. That fits perfectly. So I'm going to lay my paper inside my Embossed, close it up, and then you'll see it says place this side down. So you want to make sure you put that side down. The other tip with these is you do not want to run this through your machine with your seam going into the machine, because what it's going to do is put way too much pressure on that seam and it's going to crack it. So what you want to do is make sure when you put that down, your seam is going into the machine horizontally. So, and then I'm going to put my other standard cutting pad on top, and then I'm going to run it through. You might hear some snapping and cracking, and that's all perfectly normal. And then when you open it, you're going to get your little butterflies. One of them decided to hang out in there. So, and you just poke them out. Poke them out. Yeah, you pop them out. Pop it right out. Now, if you're having a project where you only need 1 or 2 butterflies, keep those extra butterflies and put them in a plastic bag or a little container and use them for projects later. You could have a whole array of different colors. Or, if you're only using the big one, put these little ones inside your card so when the recipient opens it, it's kind of like card confetti and they come falling out. But I don't recommend you do that for your husband if he's on a submarine. Because one thing they don't like is when you put confetti inside of a greeting card and they open it standing there and glitter goes everywhere. Not a good thing. So there's a definite tip for all you military wives. Alright, so that is a Embossed. Next is going to be a sizzlet. And what a sizzlet is it's an alphabet or a small wafer thin die, and they do have them for images, and we also have them for alphabets. This is Go-Go Boots, which is one Stampin' Up! Sells. And then I've also got one, and they actually come in this cool little box, and I've actually put 2 into one. So what you do is you take your sizzlet, and you're going to use the same sandwich, because my sizzlet's listed here on my, so it's going to be tab 1, standard cutting pad, sizzlet face up, cardstock, standard cutting pad, and then you just run it through. And then what you've got is a bunch of alphabet letters to use for your cards or scrapbook pages. It comes with numbers, symbols. Same thing with the Embossed. And if you don't want to put one little piece of cardstock over just the one letter you want, go ahead and run them all through if you're using scrap paper. Throw them in a plastic bag or in a container, and you've always got letters on hand for when you need them. And the other really cool thing with this is you could run this through with a piece of like cereal box on top of it, and then your cardstock on top too. And then you've got a backing, kind of make like your own chipboard letters that are already covered with cardstock. You could even glue your cardstock to that piece of cereal box cardstock and just run it through. And with this little container right here, you can also keep your embossements in it. Let's see what else we've got. Let's do texture plates. These are pretty cool. This is a texture plate, and what they are is they come in different designs. They're double-sided, so you're going to get more than one design. Here's a polka dot, a big one, small polka dot, swirls. This is like a damask kind of design. Diamonds, and eye licked. And what's kind of cool is if you look at these, you can notice these are designs that have been on our designer's papers for the last couple of years. So it's kind of cool that we can make them on anything now that we want. So let's go ahead and run it through with one of these. Now I'm going to look at my sandwich. It looks like I'm going to use tab 1 again. So I'm going to make sure I put my texture plate. And I'm going to put my cardstock. Put my cardstock down. And then the difference with these is you're going to need a silicone rubber pad and an impression pad. And this is a silicone rubber. It's a flimsy piece, just called silicone rubber. And then you would put that down, and then an impression pad. It's a much harder piece of cardboard, a little more flexible. Because when this comes up, it kind of needs to be mushy or spongy like to get in there to get that image to come through. So we go ahead and layer those on, and then run those through. Okay. And that's going to, I don't know if you can see it, embossed image on the back of your cardstock. Now, this is not a very good impression, but let me show you a trick. You're going to put your texture plate down, then you're going to take your piece of cardstock, okay, and you're going to use rubbing alcohol or water. If you use water, it's going to take a little bit longer for it to dry. Rubbing alcohol dries pretty fast. Just put some in a little spritzer container and go ahead and spritz your cardstock lightly. So you see it kind of shimmies it up or makes it roll up. Lay it face down on your cardstock and then lay your silicone rubber and then lay your impressions pad and then put it into the, there we go. Okay, and just run it through. When you take it off, that paper is going to have a much deeper impression. You can kind of feel that it's raised on there. And then when that dries, this one here you can kind of feel it, but you can barely see it. This one's a little darker because it's a little wet, but you can see as it's drying, it's going to be much raised, and so it's going to be perfectly good. So that's a little trick for your embossing with your texture plates. Alright, and the other thing we have to emboss with are embossing folders, and you're going to use those with, you're going to take tab 2 and tab 1 down, and you're going to use them with just the back tab. Okay? And you can use this with the Cuttlebug embossing folders, as well as the Sizzix embossing folders, and the one Stampin' Up! Carries. We've got polka dots, flowers, you name it, we've got it. Like I said, every type of product on the market, except for electronic or digital, works in this machine. So I'm going to give you a little sneak peek at a new folder that's coming out May 1st in the summer mini catalog, and it's the Textured Impressions Square Lattice. So it opens up like a regular folder, like if you're familiar with these folders. Let's get some cardstock. Like I said again, I'm using my scraps. So you put your cardstock inside, close up your folder, run it through, cutting pad, folder, cutting pad. Okay, then you're just going to run it through. And then, as you can see, it put that image onto the folder. And you know, the same thing, you could spritz your paper and it's going to give you a little deeper, but these actually work really well with this, with the cardstock, these little backgrounds. Another cool thing about these is you could take a brayer, if you have a brayer, with some ink, and you're going to brayer onto the inside of the folder, lay a piece of white cardstock or any color, sandwich it in, and when it comes through and it pushes up, it's going to have that different ink on it. So that's going to be your textured impression folders, your sizzlets, and that's kind of just a nice quick little introduction to the Big Shot. If you have any questions, like I said, let me know. I hope this is a little bit helpful for some. I hope I didn't go too fast or kind of confuse anybody. But if you have any questions or anything, just make sure you let me know, okay? Thanks. Have a good day. Bye-bye.